shake your
cat treats.
Cat treats. Hey, hello, and welcome to Lab Rats.
They're not buying it today. They're not coming.
I know what's going on with the cats. I'm Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And we were hoping that Biff and Boo's going to get here in a minute.
Check it out over there, Mo. Look at that.
It's like sitting there like...
He's hanging out with Elmo over there.
Biffer's... What have I got for you? Oh, he's coming. Oh, he's coming.
He's not buying it.
All right, well, let's start the show with... maybe he'll show up later.
All right.
Welcome to Lab Rats.
It's a very exciting episode of Lab Rats.
You're drunk again?
I'm not drunk again.
No, but I am.
Drunk on power and cat treats.
But I'm terrified of today because recently I got a really nice new little gadget called the iPod Touch.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying that you're going to do something scary to it?
Yes, well, if you see, unlock yours for a second so we can take a look inside. So, you see, you've got a very basic kind of iPod Touch there with a very basic menu. I'm going to show you how to turn that into this.
Ooh, cool.
So, we're going to hack the iPod Touch today. We're going to jailbreak it.
Wow.
And allow you to install applications.
Okay.
We'll get into the details of that after the break.
Well, let's go.
There he is.
Whoa, there he is. Just in time for us to go to commercial, you ding dong.
Let's give him some cat treats and then we'll get going.
All right, good. All right, we'll be back after this with Biff.
If a gorilla was the new Camtasia Studio 5, it would be leaner. It would be meaner. And it wouldn't steal your bananas. The new Camtasia Studio 5. Screencasting software that's better than a gorilla. Download it at www.techsmith.com.
Okay, so we've got the cats up here, and I just want to make one more comment before we get into the cracking of the iPod Touch. And that is that there's a lovely Sarah Van Lang. She's a public relations person, and she represents like Belkin and Dell in Canada. Turns out that she also represents Cat Crack. Well, actually, we call it Cat Crack. It's Temptations.
Yeah,
right?
Crack. We're gonna the crack.
See, it's the theme show. Anyway, so there you go. Thank you, SVL. We love you, and our cats love this Temptation stuff to the point where I'm not sure if it's really good.
This color is confusing me. This looks like it would be chocolate and mint.
No, it's not. It's good for the cat's teeth. It's like
tasty chicken flavor.
Greeny for
Oh, later on we should serve these as appetizers.
Perfect. Yeah.
Great.
Okay. All right. That's it for that. Thank you. Oops. All right, Biffer. Bye bye.
Thank you, Biff.
See you later. Bye. Thank you.
All
right. Let's go from cat crack to cracking the
iPod Touch. So. The reason the iPod Touch is crackable, unlike previous versions of the iPod, the previous versions of the iPod, there was certain hacks that you could do. This one is much more wide open, thanks to the fact that it actually runs. He's trying to chew it right through the package. Maybe you should give him some more of those. So we. All right. So
why don't you tell them what a crack is first?
So the reason that you can actually install applications and other little bits of goodness on the iPod where you couldn't before. I'm going to take this again now.
Okay.
Is because essentially the iPod Touch runs on a slimmed down version of Mac OS X. So it's a full operating system on here, unlike before. It's not proprietary. Well, it is proprietary, but it is sort of broader. It is a subset of the one that you'd actually find on a Mac.
Right.
So what the trick is you basically put files in the proper place on here.
Right.
Now, it comes pretty much locked down right out of the gate, so that you can't really do much with it except surf on Safari.
So Apple's designed this then just to be used in a particular way,
right?
And to crack it means to kind of break the rules with them or stop.
Well, it's modifying your firmware on here slightly so that you can actually do other things that it's not meant to do out of the box.
It's a bit slippery then.
Right. What you're potentially doing here is you're voiding your warranty. Now, when you're doing this on the iPhone, it's a little bit more dicey because you're voiding and contravening a license agreement that you've
agreed to already.
AT&T.
Oh, right.
As well. So
in the States.
In the States. So that's a little bit different because you're using it in a way that's it's not meant to be used on a network. So there's actually serious legal issues involved on that one, potentially.
Could you go to jail? Could a big man become your boyfriend?
I don't think that would happen, but you never know. I mean, it's a it's a more serious thing than this. What you're doing here is you're modifying the firmware on here, and you're voiding your warranty, essentially, potentially. So that's about the main legal implication of this one.
All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually apply a software fix here?
We're going to apply a little patch to this. And okay, so the first thing to know about the iPod Touch is it has Wi-Fi built in. Right. So in addition to being a music player, it also can surf the web. And
wireless.
This is actually how you apply the crack. So
Wi-Fi?
It's Wi-Fi.
Wireless networking.
Yes.
Because I want to be sensitive to some people are kind of new to us, because we're growing like crazy at the moment. Wi-Fi, wireless networking, you get internet through the air from a little box called a router. Yes. The future of lab rats.
Okay, so it can connect to your wireless network.
Right.
And we're going to do that. So it's got Safari built in, again, because it's a stripped-down version of OS X. It has a stripped-down version of Safari in here.
Right.
And like the version of Safari that was out on the Mac, this one is actually susceptible to a crack.
Oh, okay.
So there was a TIFF exploit that was out there. You go to a page that has a certain type of image file that has extra data inside the file, and it would basically open up the browser and say, okay, what do you want to do next? And in this case, what it can do is it can go to the operating system on here, modify it, add an installer program that will allow you to put other applications on here. So we're going to have you do this now.
So what's happened is somebody's found a crack in the foundation, and they basically
wedged
it open, and now they
can put some other stuff in here.
Okay, right.
Now, I mean, you have to be careful about this because you could theoretically do some really nasty stuff as a part of this deal.
Right. So what are the downsides of cracking something?
The downsides of cracking something is potentially when you install this crack on here and put other applications, you now have software on here that is not necessarily meant to be there. So if Apple pushes a firmware upgrade to this, if you apply it, you might brick your iPod completely, which means it won't be functional anymore.
So you brick it, you turn it into a brick.
You turn it into a brick.
And a firmware update is software that goes on a chip that runs it, right?
Right.
Sort of the operating system.
So if you upgrade the firmware of this iPod, essentially you're taking the operating system that's in there right now and replacing it with an upgraded version.
Right.
So, and if you're upgrading it and there's things in there that aren't supposed to be there, then potentially unwanted consequences can happen. So, disclaimer right up front, do this at your own risk.
Yes.
Don't apply the patches that Apple provides to you on this. Man, he's just getting, speaking of growing, Biff is eating so many treats right now. It is totally kitty cat crack.
We love it. Okay, so at this point then, the lab rats lawyers are going to put on a disclaimer that says,
Bing! Yeah, anything you do after this point is at your own risk.
Right.
You could turn your iPod into a brick doing this.
Right, don't send your mom calling us crying, that we've hurt your iPod Touch. It's not our fault, it's your fault.
It's your fault. So what you want to do before you do this, either way, is if you're watching this down the road, make sure before you use this that it is designed to work with the version of the firmware you currently have on your iPod.
Got it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go on Safari.
Yeah.
So you hook up to your network, and you're going to go on Safari to a site called jailbreakme.com.
I don't know how to do this.
Do you want me to do this?
You do it, please. You
Okay.
do that part.
Okay.
All right, so you've typed in jailbreakme.com. Got it?
Yeah, so we're going to load this in now and type go. And we get this little bit AppSnap installer. You can see this actually using a regular web browser by going to it, but it won't actually do anything unless it's actually on the Safari browser on your iPhone or on your iPod Touch. So we're going to actually go down to install AppSnap.
Get out of the way. Out of the way.
Yeah, he's not here when we want him, but
there we go.
So we're going to click install AppSnap. And then, oops.
Uh-oh. Oh, exciting.
Make sure that your battery is fully charged up when you do this.
So if it craps out halfway through...
Yeah, it might do something unwanted, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to download it, and then it's going to install it.
Should we sing 80s tunes at this point, do you think?
What else? Has our lawyer cleared us to pay copyright?
We can only sing 4 bars.
4 bars.
Before we actually have to pay a license fee.
Well, I don't think we're going to have to worry about that because this is nearly done.
We could do some Beethoven. Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, it's
Da-da-da-da.
showing. Okay, so it's extracting the programs,
Da-da-da-da.
patching the TIFF exploit. Uh-oh, fixing your permissions. So essentially, it's running a stripped-down version of Unix. So now,
Look at the picture.
so now essentially, it's done. It has. When we do this, we'll see that we now have something on here called installer.
Oh, exciting.
So now, when we click on installer, it'll ask us for a donation.
Oh,
Because they've done some good stuff for the world here.
Yeah.
And we're going to donate
where?
later. And now what you see on here is you've got featured, install, update, uninstall, and source. Okay, so now if you're downloading this and you haven't found any useful software on this yet, the source is somewhere we're going to go. We'll get to that in a few seconds. So right now we can just go through here, read all the legalese and what's new.
Right.
But what we really want to do is we want to go to install. So if you want to install some software on here, you'll look through here and find out the various categories. Games, of course. This is probably one of the things that you want to do. A ton of games. Some of them use a Mercury switch, like 15, and others that are simulators. This one, iPong, it plays a network version of Pong, so you can play Pong against someone over the network.
For your iPhone, if it's an iPhone, right?
Lights Off. We're going to install Lights Off because this is actually one of the most fun games that I've seen. So you would go to that source. It'll give you the information about it, more info about what it is, who maintains this particular source, and then you're going to click install in the top here, and then click install.
This is awesome.
And it's going to
And this is
extract
pulling
it.
the file down from the internet.
Right, so you have to be connected to the internet while you're doing all of this.
Right.
So there you go, you've installed that one. We'll get to it later. So you've got toys, tweaks, utilities, wallpaper, themes, system. You can basically go through here and install a ton of different things. So anyways, so once we're done with this, we're going to get out of there, and it's going to install that.
Yeah.
So it'll wait to install it until you've done that, and then it'll lock it again. So
Do you like
that's
the picture? That's my niece.
that is your disorder. Yeah, you mentioned her before.
Isn't she cute?
So anyways, now that we've done that, now you'll see that Lights Out is on there, and this is a game that's just pretty crazy. It's so addictive. So the goal is to turn all of these lights out.
Yeah.
Bam.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah. So it'll do anything that's horizontal or vertically attached to it, and it gets harder. So it just sort of trains you the first few. And then it gives you patterns that are almost impossible to solve. So that's one thing. And I'll show you a couple of mine after the break as well. But basically, we've done the hard work here. We've hacked your iPod, and now you can install other things.
Wow. Very cool. Okay.
So we'll install some other stuff on here, and
break.
we'll install some of mine, and we'll show you a few after the break.
Before we go, though, I want
Yes.
to know, does Apple know about this?
Apple is aware of this. I actually was in a meeting recently with Apple talking about Leopard, and they sort of smiled and nodded, and officially they're not allowed to have these cracks on their own software.
Oh, right.
They know about it.
And they're not stopping it.
They're officially, I don't know.
No.
The people that I've talked to, they're aware of it, and they didn't call the police when I showed them my cracked version.
Right.
But I don't think they encourage it.
Got it. Okay. And would they try to block it in future so if they can look at the
They might.
the
The
version?
one interesting thing about this is they have announced that they are opening this up to developers of third parties. These are all done basically by people with an interest in this who have sort of hacked their way through figuring out how to put things onto this using the Linux file structure, the Unix file structure on the iPod.
Right.
The developer kit is going to be open to everyone, and third-party apps will start filtering out officially in February.
Okay.
So what we're seeing right now is a glimpse of what's officially
gonna come.
that is possible on this.
Awesome.
So
Good thing. That's the iPod Touch crack, not to be confused with Cat Crack, which is from Temptations.
oh, Biffer's gone to sleep now.
Oh. All right.
Oh, he's
All
woken
right.
up again.
Well,
Poor
let's take a
guy.
break, and when we come back, your pictures. We have pictures.
We have pictures.
Pictures.
Pictures and some more apps.
some more apps. Okay. After this. This episode brought to you by, of course, TechSmith and Cat Crack.
And our lawyers.
And our lawyers.
Who advised us to remind you yet again, in case you just tuned in, that you probably don't necessarily want to do this without checking online first to make sure that
Right.
the firmware version that you have on your iPod Touch
Right.
is currently compatible with jailbreak.
So go to that website, see which version. Now, how do you get to the version of the firmware? How do you do that? Can you show us real quick?
Yeah, really quick. So you open it up, go into your settings, wherever it appears, go into General, and click on About. And then you look down at the bottom and it says version, and this one is 1.1.1, which is at this moment the version that allows you to
crackable?
do this, right?
Okay.
So now we say this, we're recording this in the past essentially,
Yeah.
and this is going to be changing. The version of firmware that's out there will be changing, so you might be updated to 1.1.4 or 5 or whatever, and the version that's actually usable with Jailbreak Me may have changed as well.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So check before you do this to make sure. And I said, if you brick your iPod because you didn't pay attention to that, not our fault.
Don't get your mom
Pay
to call
attention.
us. We're not going to take her phone call.
And the other thing that is worth mentioning,
Yes.
which our man Gary Marriott said,
Yes.
essentially this is a virus. You're cracking it. You can open up a whole world of hurt doing this if you go to a site that you don't necessarily know what's going on.
But it's fun.
It's a lot of fun, but you could actually do some bad things here.
Fair enough. You got it. Good.
But
Okay.
Let's talk about some of the good things that we've done, though, really quickly.
Oh yeah, you got more, right? So let's
I
have a
got
look.
a couple of
Couple
quick
of
apps.
favorites.
A couple of my favorites. So
Besides iWoman.
besides iWoman. iWoman's, well, let's just show that off really quickly because I do have this on here already. So we did track it in September. This is what my menstrual period was like. So essentially you can track it. So
Menstrual.
my menstrual cycle. So not only can you tell what it was like on various days. So you can use this as a trip planner, for example. Do I need to take my little package of stuff?
Package. Girl stuff with me.
Of girl stuff. You can set your cycle and all that, which is nice. And then it'll go out into the future and tell you when it's going to be.
Isn't the digital age amazing?
I mean, it's-
the things that you
it's a little
can do
bit
with
silly.
technology.
Yeah.
I tell you.
So that's one little thing. This one is kind of fun. I mean, you can get a terminal, so you can actually go hacking around inside the guts of your file system here. I'm not going to show that one off, but for any Unix fans, that's pretty cool. Oblique is actually one of my favorite ones. So if you know Brian Eno's Oblique strategies, music fans will know this. It essentially is you click on it, and it gives you a little quote that may or may not be helpful. So you ask yourself a question and then tap on it. And then if you want another opinion, you just flip it. There's another one. You can flip it in any direction you want. So it'll give you these little, it's like the cards that Brian Eno created for his Oblique strategies.
What should Lab Rats do for episode 125?
Well, that's
Uh-oh.
making a brick.
That's not a good sign.
That's not a good sign for this one. Anyways. So there's that.
Right.
There's a Nintendo emulator here, which is kind of nice. No ROMs were found. I haven't put that in here, but if you download ROMs that are available for the Nintendo system, you can put them on here and actually play. Not the best experience because the sensitivity of this is a little bit iffy.
Right.
Let's go to another page here. 15 right here. This is proof of what can happen here. It's, you know, those old little slidey
I
puzzles.
love those, yeah.
Yeah, so
The stocking
this one
stuffers and stuff.
is the iPod Touch version of this, and it's a proof of concept. Now, you don't actually slide it like that. That would be lovely if they did this, but
Wouldn't that
since
be
it
fun?
says Mercury switches in here, you actually tilt it.
Oh, fun!
And when you tilt it, it will tilt in the direction that you go, which it's a little bit slow to respond. So if you're trying to do it in real time, it's going to be a little bit iffy. But you know, if they get that tightened down a little bit, it'll be a bit better. But
Wow.
it's a proof of what
That's
you can
very cool.
do.
You also have an RSS reader on there, which
There's
is
an
great.
RSS reader. I've got Blackjack. You can read ebooks. You can go onto the net with a terminal program.
Right.
So if you want to do some telnetting, you can do that. And Frotz will play games of the old Infocom games like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Zork and all that sort
Yeah,
of stuff.
That's great.
So there's a ton of stuff in there. I'd encourage you, if you're going to do this, look through all the various sources and find all the stuff that's on there. A lot of great things.
Good episode. Thank you, Sean. That's awesome. All right, time for pictures!
We have Pikachu's, as per always. So first up, is that tasty?
The cat taste. It's chicken flavored.
Biff just got really excited. He sees you eating his cat treats.
Hi, buddy. Here.
All right,
Oh,
so,
very nice.
So this is our viewer, Scott, from Claremont in New Hampshire, and he's with his daughter, Lindsay.
Scott.
At her Sweet 16.
Oh, yay, Scott.
So there we go.
They didn't eat Temptations.
I hope they didn't.
They obviously are having a good time.
They're having a much better time than I can smell that from over here.
Isn't that disgusting?
Does Biff like those so
He
much?
loves them. It's because it's the cat crack inside.
Oh, I see. You just gotta get into the inner gooey goodness.
It's not good.
All right, another picture.
Yes, please. Take the taste away.
This is
Salty.
our viewer Tigger. Well, actually, I think
Tigger.
it's one of our viewers' cats,
Right.
Tigger, and Tigger's owner didn't really tell us who he was, so
Okay.
this is Tigger's.
See, if we knew, we
from
could send you
Tigger's
some cat
owner's
crack.
cat.
But clearly, since you didn't tell us who you are, we can't send you any cat crack.
It's
Or
probably
say,
just as well. It's a bad, filthy
Temptations
habit,
brand.
and you don't want to feed this habit any more than absolutely necessary.
Whiskas Temptations. Dentabites is what it's called. There you go. Anything else?
That's it. We can recommend a good rehab program for your cat later on. We'll look into it.
That wraps another episode of Lab
So
Rats.
you're feeling a little bit less nervous now that your iPod is hacked?
No, I feel kind of good. I'm happy. So I'm going to put iWoman on there to track my menstrual cycle,
That's a good idea.
right? So I don't get, all upset at the wrong time.
Sometimes you're a little bit touchy. I want to
I am.
be sure not to be filming with you when that happens.
Let's do an iLab Rats episode. iLab Rats. You can tell when it's time for a new Lab Rats episode.
Yes, your iPod Touch will tell you, and it'll automatically download it.
That's a good thing. If you have a program and you want to do that, let us know. All right. You can send us email at feedback@labrats.tv. You can send your pictures to us at.
Feedback@labrats.tv.
You can go to the Lab Rats website and see all more than 100 episodes at.
Labrats.tv.
And you can email Sean at.
Labrats.tv.
Sean at labrats.tv, yeah. And you can email me at.
Andy at
labrats.tv. All right. Thank you so much for downloading today, and for putting up with our nonsense, and for watching me eat cat crack.
Yep. I'm Andy Walker.
And I'm Sean Carruthers. We'll see you next time. Sorry
That's my
about that.
line.
I know. Sorry.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
Everybody.
Everybody's working for the weekend. Everybody's
Wearing their PC.
Oh, the Mac. Oh,
Everybody's installing Windows Vista.
Everybody's watching Amber on TV.
Everybody's watching Amber on TV.
oh, oh.